Oop asks if she's wrong for enforcing her surrogacy contract. Fun fact to cover spoilers. A day on Saturn is much shorter than a day on Earth. Saturn completes a full spin around its axis in about 10.5 hours. However, it takes Saturn 29 Earth years to do one complete orbit around the Sun. Content warning: kidnapping, attempted cheating, emotional manipulation, less than, mood spoilers. Happy for Oop and her husband. Dubious for the sister. Less than. AIW for enforcing our surrogacy contract? Originally posted August 12, 2023. Okay, so for context, my husband is James chapter 39. I'm F29 and my sister is Tilly 30. When my husband and I found out I wouldn't be able to carry a baby, my sister offered to be our surrogate so we could still have a biological child. She did this totally unprompted and on her own. She had divorced her husband over a year ago and was settling into single life. We offered to cover all medical expenses and expenses for anything that could improve her life pregnancy quality, as it's not legal to pay for a surrogate in my country. She was more than happy to do that, and as time went on she said she didn't like pregnancy. It freaked her out and she couldn't wait to just give the baby to us and go on holiday. So 3 days ago she gave birth to our daughter. She's perfect and such a beautiful baby, and we were getting ready to take her home when Tilly denied it. She said I couldn't have my baby. I was really confused and asked what was wrong. What did she mean? She said she'd changed her mind and didn't want to give us our baby. I reminded her she wasn't biologically a parent to my daughter and reminded her that she hated pregnancy and wanted to go on holiday. She said no, wouldn't let me hold my baby, and made the nurse take me out. Since then I've been crying and really upset. Our parents are trying to get her to see sense, and none of it made any sense to me until James sat me down and showed me texts he had been getting from her for the past few weeks. They started out innocent, but then she said how horny the pregnancy was making her. He sent back a laughing emoji, but she carried on and prepositioned him, asking him if he was attracted to the woman carrying his baby, saying surely it made him feel some way. She sent some risky photos of her in lingerie and he told her to stop. She wasn't his wife. He wouldn't mention anything as none of us needed more stress, but this wasn't appropriate. Since then I've been looking over the contract we had drawn up, and there is a clause that allows me to gain custody by showing Tilly's written agreement and understanding of our contract to a judge. I've texted Tilly telling her she has a day to give me my baby or I will take her to court to enforce the contract and get custody of my child. Our cousins have texted me saying I'm an AH for pressuring a woman to give her baby up. But it's my baby, not hers. / Relevant comments. Did she have sex with OP's husband to get pregnant? I would forward all of those pics to the flying monkeys. Shut them down. Get a lawyer now. Oop. No. We did it at a fertility clinic. / You're not wrong. But please have some empathy for the incredible sacrifice of risking her health, permanent changes to her body, and how incredibly difficult it is to give up a baby you've been carrying for 9 months. I think this emotional confusion about carrying a baby that is your husband's is why she is flirting with him. She agreed, but she did not know how incredibly hard it would be, especially with all of the pre- and postnatal hormones. It's your baby. You should push to get the baby. But I don't think she's an asshole. Just overwhelmed and hijacked by her emotions and hormones right now. I hope in the long run you can have some compassion and mend the relationship. Even though she is making things difficult right now, after it gets sorted it out, she will still ultimately be the person who made it possible for you to have the family you want. Oop. If I'm honest, it feels like emotional manipulation. She's had no feelings or attachment to the baby literally the whole pregnancy. She said she only did it so she could get the private health care. The holiday she's going on was paid by us. Anything she wanted during pregnancy. Food, clothes, Dyson hairdryer we got her. We sent her on wellness weekends. She admitted she wanted some pampering after the divorce and knew we would give that to the woman. Housing our baby. Oop later added this to the original post. Without boots on the ground. I can't tell from here if this is a manipulation or if she is genuinely feeling emotionally overwhelmed. Carrying a baby for 9 months. The rush of hormones related to birth. That is very powerful. So I can't write it off, but OFC, you know her better. But honestly, this info makes you a little less sympathetic. It sounds like you kind of took advantage of her lack of care and attention and money. Vulnerable. Post-divorce state to get a surrogate you didn't have to pay. It's still your baby, but this doesn't sit right. Oop. Be so for real. We gave her anything she not only needed but wanted. Also, I never asked her to do it. She practically begged me to let her do it. She's healthy and I'm not. Obviously, I don't have all the details. You came here asking for input and opinions. I'm giving mine based on what you shared, which will always be an incomplete picture. The going rate for a surrogate is, what, $50,000 these days? There's not denying you got a bargain even if you gave her whatever she wanted. Oop. Okay. Look from a purely practical point of view. If you can put your anger down briefly and you go to her. Thank her for carrying the baby. Thank her for taking on that risk and sacrifice. Tell her you know it's hard and confusing right now, but that you are the mom. And promise her that she will always have a place in your life and the baby's life as her most special aunt. You might actually get what you want faster. Just something to consider. Oop. Okay, just so you know, I did that. I did that as soon as my daughter was born. I thanked her immensely. And then I find out she tried to preposition my husband and then find out she's holding my baby hostage. Makes it difficult to put your anger down. / Why didn't your husband say anything when she was texting him inappropriately? Oop. I have a heart condition and it was the last few weeks of pregnancy. I was constantly stressing something would go wrong, so he wanted to reduce the stress for me and Tilly. / Oop. She is not my child's mother. I am. End of. I'm sorry for the predicament you find yourself in. But in many countries, legally, you are not. Oop. Luckily we have the clause which means I am. All I have to do is get a judge to enforce it. If the law states otherwise, no judge can nor will enforce it. I hope you have a good lawyer. I do think you should be given your baby, since baby is biologically yours. Oop. Thank you. We're not from the States, so I think that makes a difference. / You are not wrong. I hope your sister didn't have an ulterior motive to get pregnant with your husband's child in hopes of taking him from you. That's disrespectful. The child is biologically you and your husband's. Take her to court. Call for a welfare check on the child. I'm sure your sister had nothing prepared to bring home a newborn. Then again, if she did, she's had this planned. I would also postpone the holiday at the bare minimum. After you have your child, fulfill the contract. Oop. We've paid for them to stay longer at the maternity facility they are in so that we have peace of mind baby girl is okay and safe. Good thinking. I was concerned for the baby's sake. My heart breaks for both you and your husband. What should be the happiest time in your life has become a huge betrayal. As long as your child is safe, that's the most important thing right now. Have faith. You will get your child. It's just going to take a little longer. You have the law on your side with the contract. Stay strong and lean on your husband. You both will get through this together. Godspeed. Oop. Thank you so much. If I thought my sister was mentally unwell, I'd be the first one to help, but it really feels like manipulation as she didn't get what she wanted. I'm upset to not have her with us for her first few days, but at least she is safe. Backslash. Oop. Our contract was very clear. Tilly did not wish for rights to the baby. She gave those up of her own free will pre-birth. She was evaluated to be of sane mind when she made this decision. Backslash. If it's illegal to pay for surrogacy your country, I don't see how this contract can be enforced. Honestly, surrogacy disgusts me and should be outlawed. It's a form of human trafficking and exploitative. Oop. Because we didn't pay her to do it. She offered without being asked. Backslash. You're not wrong. It really is a horrible situation no matter how you slice it. But this is exactly why you have the contract in place. Just know that there's no clean or easy way out. Oop. We're giving her to the end of the day before we start the legal proceedings. Backslash. Did she already have kids? If not, she had no idea what she was agreeing to. Growing a baby inside your body is a life-changing experience. It's the closest possible connection between two people. I believe this is why generally surrogates must have children of their own before signing a contract. I don't think anyone's is wrong here. She just gave birth, so mentally she's in a very unique place with all systems set to taking care of the baby. The situation sucks for everyone. Was there counseling before? This should have been discussed beforehand. Oop. She has a son. I'll add an edit, but it feels really manipulative to me. She basically begged to let her do it for us. Backslash. The comments in general are supportive of Oop and wish her the best. However, several commenters point out possible legal issues, and there are a few that heavily criticize Oop for having a surrogate at all, and some accusing her of exploiting her sister. AIW for enforcing our surrogacy contract? Update. Posted August 14, 2023. Just thought I'd give a little update as lots of people were using the update bot. We have Tilly 24 hours before we started the legal proceedings to give us our baby. I've been into work today to keep my mind busy as I was so nervous, and I work in a hospital, so it's kept my mind busy, whereas James is able to work from home. It's been so hard the past few days not having our daughter with us. We'd imagined being able to spend the first few days of her life together as a family, getting in all the newborn skin-to-skin contact, but instead we've just been looking at her empty nursery. When I got home from work, James told me that the maternity facility had been in contact to say my sister and our baby had been discharged. One didn't want to worry me when I was at work and had been trying to find them, but it had only happened about an hour before I got home. Then 2 hours later someone knocks on our door, and it's Tilly holding our baby. She gives her to me and just shrugs and says sorry, but that it wasn't her fault she was attracted to the man whose baby she was carrying, but that she'd forgotten how much newborns cry and need to be fed, and said she wasn't the mother. She left quickly after that, after giving us the final legal form with her signature on. Safe to say, we've just been soaking in having our baby with us finally. We've been able to put her in the clothes we'd gotten her. We put her down in her crib and fed her a bottle. And most importantly, we've had so many cuddles. We haven't really put her down, and I feel a bit scared too. Like she can be taken away again. She's beautiful and she's perfect, and her name is Alexandria Renee. Relevant comments. I'm so glad you've got your baby back. I hope that you never let your sister anywhere near your child. She stole your precious first days with your baby just because she wanted your husband. That is disgusting behavior. She doesn't deserve to ever be forgiven. Oop. I'd like to forgive her if it's mental health related for my nephew's sake as well, but I'm not too sure. Backslash. I'm so happy for you. I was worried that you would have to give through a lengthy court battle. She is in wonderful hands. Will you keep in contact with your sister? Oop. I'd like to. Hopefully she will have an attitude change. Backslash. I'd suggest a trust but verify type approach from here. Get some cameras. Take a good long couple months, maybe a year, break from having much to do with her in person. If you put your daughter into any sort of childcare, make sure they know to call you husband before letting anyone else pick her up. Should be standard procedure. But emphasize the importance. It could very well be that this whole thing is just the pregnancy, labor hormones messing with your sister's head. In which case she'll probably calm way down, back way off, and generally be embarrassed about the whole thing. If she does, it would be a kindness, and probably easiest, to just let it be water under the bridge. If it's more than that, well, that's why you take precautions anyway. Oop, I'd like to do that, but obviously will not tolerate her coming onto my husband. I think it is hilarious that it wasn't legal action that got her sister to return the baby, but the fact that the baby cried a lot and needed constant care. Yup, that's what babies do. I've changed my mind. I want to keep the baby. Keeps baby for 24 hours. Whoa, these things suck. Take it. I can't understand why so many people were against Oop and insisting that the baby belonged to her sister, even going so far as to say that no judge would side with her. There was a contract and the baby is biologically Oop's. I know a couple who had a surrogate baby here in Australia. As with Oop, payment for surrogacy isn't legal, but they paid for every possible expense. A bit like this story. The surrogate expressed some wishes to keep the baby towards the end of the pregnancy. Never threatened to keep the child, but in more of a, I wish I could be this child's mom. It isn't surprising given there are a lot of innate hormonal processes happening to bond the mother and baby. Luckily after the birth they were able to take their baby home without any fuss. And the surrogate was soon pregnant with another couple's baby. Thankfully no propositioning of the fathers was involved. The couple are both men. So many people completely bending over backwards to make what the sister did all right. Pregnancy hormones don't make you attempt to homewreck your own sister and kidnap her child. Your own sister fell in love with your husband and literally hand that rocks the cradled your baby? Pay. Women. She'll be fine. Just give her a bit to rest her little hormone brain. We women don't need to be handled with kids' gloves. Especially not when kidnapping is involved. Did PPL skip over the part where her sister said she was attracted to her husband? If this is real, wow. I'm glad that Oop and their husband got their baby back. Pregnancy was not an excuse for Tilly to act the way she did to OOP's husband. I wonder if Tilly is not in the right headspace mentally. And what is with family and jumping to support the person who is wrong? What? I get the feeling that the commenters criticizing Oop don't understand how altruistic surrogacy works, even though it varies place to place. Considering they had a contract, went to a fertility clinic, and OOP's egg it sounds like, and had a mental evaluation done on Tilly. I'm assuming they had a lawyer in the mix to guide them on what to cover in their country. You can have a family member agree to surrogate for no payment, and still have legal protections. It doesn't mean they suddenly have more rights to their biological nibbling just because they carry them. The rest of this is so gross on Tilly's side. She tried to woo OOP's husband? And then she finally decided since she couldn't get him and that actually babies are gross and loud. And now she doesn't want it? So suddenly she's not the mother. And said it wasn't her fault she tried to hit on the husband. Yuck. So much yuck. I feel bad for her son. Tilly doing a complete 180 because a baby cries and needs to be fed. She has the maturity of a 16-year-old. There are no hormones anywhere that could make me come on to my sister's husbands. Or my husband's brother. I get pregnancy hormones or a PETA. I can relate to pregnancy hormones making you want intimate relations. But to deliberately go after your sister's husband and excuse it as, "Welp, I'm carrying his child via IVF, so might as well get some natural action in too." No. Some people are just off limits. Full stop. That people were defending that level of nonsense. It's too early for my brain to be broke this bad. I feel like the sister wanted to punish them for the husband rejecting her sexual harassment. Or it was decided right after birth. She should get that on her criminal record. That she sent nudes to an unwilling person. I have a friend that used the same woman twice to carry her babies. Friend has 3 kids. Twins and a single. The surrogate is an aunt to the kids, and the money they paid allowed surrogate to raise her kids and tuck money away for their college. Friend had cancer and froze embryos. The baby wasn't her sister's. What is wrong with people? Her sister may have carried the baby, but it's clear it wasn't hers. It's concerning people think Oop didn't buy the baby, so she shouldn't have it. 1. Her sister volunteered. 2. They found workarounds so she'd be compensated. Her sister only wanted to keep the baby to try to steal her husband. That's the only reason. Super messed up she'd have the hospital kick Oop out. Adoption and surrogacy sound so emotional for all involved. I can't even begin to imagine how that would feel. Surrogacy isn't legal in my country. And honestly, after reading this, I can definitely understand why. I'm happy Oop got her baby, but I definitely wouldn't trust the sister with my kid and around my husband. She gives her to me and just shrugs and says sorry, but that it wasn't her fault she was attracted to the man whose baby she was carrying, but that she'd forgotten how much newborns cry and need to be fed, and said she wasn't the mother. What a poss. I'm sorry to say. POS. She was hoping to weaponize the baby to get OOP's man. Reddit shows that selfish people know no bounds. Because of things like this, I like to randomly thank my family for being so normal and boring. It sounds more like she wanted the husband than the baby, and when he kept rejecting her, she finally gave up.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.